You're listening to Radio Cosmos.
All night long.
Bravo! My compliments, little lady.
Commercial!
Break for 30 seconds.
You are now listening to BaaD Radio.
Hello and welcome to BaaD Radio. BaaD stands for Business at a Distance. This is a show about local businesses and business networking. And we are here in the News Radio WFLA studio from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. every Sunday. And this section of BaaD Radio is brought to you by Osteopathic Health and Wellness, located in Baldwin Park. They cover the body's natural way of healing from head to toe, including non-invasive body sculpting, peptides, and so much more. You can visit osteopathic.health for more info. All right, now back to the show. Our guest today has been here before, but I was excited when she agreed to come back. Please welcome Chelsea Zirpola with Renewal by Andersen.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Zirpola.
I
love it. I love it. Well, you fit the Zirpola, but that's your husband's last name.
It is.
But you're still Italian.
Italian, Hawaiian. What a great mixture, right?
Well, for your skin color, it is. I told somebody I was going through Chick-fil-A the other day, and the girl was chatting me up, and she had nice brown skin, and she was like, "Are you going to go to the beach this summer?" I'm like, "No, I'm old and I'm pale, and no, you just go."
We're trying to stay young.
I'm like, just take your nice tan skin and go away.
Yeah.
Bring me my nuggets.
You're like, not fair.
I bet. Well, like I said, you have beautiful skin.
Thank you.
So what's been going on since the last time? I'm trying to remember. I think it was like October of last year.
It was. I looked back. It was October. I think for us, we're just, super busy doing all kinds of crazy things. Just got back from the Super Bowl. That was a whole new experience for me. And just really making sure that we're doing our due diligence in the community. That's our big focus right now.
Well, I wanted to just talk about you for a few minutes because I think last time we talked so much about Renewal by Andersen and the product and stuff like that. But let's dive into you a little bit. So tell me a little bit about your background and how I'm very curious what brought you here to your position with Renewal by Andersen.
So lots of years ago, I was a media buyer. That was kind of my start of my career. I was finishing up my master's. I have a double master's in marketing and business. And, it just was purely at a newspaper learning a whole lot of stuff. And, I'll date myself. Back then, there really wasn't a lot of social media and digital media. That was like you were doing something crazy, and they thought you were crazy if you were able to do some digital. So I started with that group in Colorado.
Okay.
And so just really raising kids and being an amazing mom, but finding a way to really advance my career set. And so I had an amazing home improvement customer called Renewal by Andersen.
Oh, okay.
And we
just
started
put two and two
at
together.
a really small level and grew their business unbelievably. And they still are the number one market for all of Renewal by Andersen's across the network. And so I started placing their media, and within a year they said, "We don't want to share you.
Right.
We want you to come and be a part of our team." And so I didn't know home improvement like that. I just knew the tactics I needed to do with digital and the way that we had to set them apart in the marketplace, the things that most home improvement companies or home services just didn't understand at that moment. And so it really catapulted them to a different level. And so I joined their team, and it was just not only an amazing experience, the culture, the people, everything that they did was something that resonated with me as a person.
Very nice.
The excitement of delighting a customer and, really having that camaraderie as a team unit. And I think those are all the things I know today we all talk about dynamic teaming, right? Including everybody. Back then it was a part of what they did every day. There wasn't like a word for it back then, but it was an amazing environment. I loved being a part of that team. And so I was with them for several years, grew them to a really amazing market share in the Denver, Colorado Springs market. And then Gibraltar Industries decided that, they wanted to kind of allow me to come in and learn national. And so they hired me as their national director of marketing to oversee all of their consumer-facing brands, which are significant brands. You would know the names.
So what is that like to go from a singular market to a national? Because, like I said, I'm an Orlando girl.
Yeah.
So I've had national accounts in my day. but I've never really stepped into a role from that point of view to where because I don't think people actually understand the complexity of media buying.
No, and I think their perception is, oh yeah, just play something and it'll work. And that's just not the case at all. And I think being a fellow marketer, you understand like the strategy, even down to a sub-market, changes. The consumer's different.
Absolutely.
Even, when I look at marketing and what I can do in Tampa, it's a complete different way that I need to do it in Jacksonville.
Oh yeah, the demographic is different.
It's a whole different process when you're like, and it was home improvement, right? And so, these two major brands had 300-400 dealers. And so we were placing at a national level in order for them to get brand awareness in their local markets.
So how do you go about like segmenting the markets?
Yeah.
I mean, that's got to take a long time.
It's a lot, and you learn efficiencies real quick because
bet.
then you have to look at, okay, well, that the Northeast is going to have similar ways they regard media and how they react to media, and you have to do a lot of A/B testing, and you have to be diligent. There, you always have a control piece, and then you the ones that work, and then you have to ever be testing creative. And so it was really interesting. I was one of the first women leaders, and it especially in that space, So, and I was not, I was probably middle 30s and just going, this is crazy, to be able to, and we did unbelievable stuff. And, it really made them think of things differently because they didn't have a heavy digital focus. And that was something they really wanted to tap into and do something great in. And, consumer facing was kind of different when it's a manufacturer,
Right.
they're still dealing with, wait a minute, you're going to spend what on what,
Right.
Are you crazy? So, got to do that and for 9 years and really enjoyed learning the power of national buying.
I can only imagine.
And built relationships that you just have to hold on to, and was able to do things in a very efficient way and grow the company in a significant way. And then in 2019, early 2019, got a call from someone that said, you really want to come back to Renewal. You've always been around Renewal because you keep the relationships.
Of course.
Many of the affiliates or the dealers were Renewal dealers and the dealer of the other brands. And so, again, those relationships were the same. And we're very, in home services, you're very close-knit group. And so I absolutely was ready to come back to consumer facing and not so much developing dealers, but now I wanted to do it for Renewal again in this market. And we were newer to the market in 2016.
And so you're talking about Florida.
2016 is when Central Florida actually launched. So I'm coming in in 2019.
Okay.
I helped to launch the Tampa market and the Jacksonville market. And we have seen such amazing response from not only how we delight customers and how we're a world-class customer experience company. We just happen to have windows and doors.
Yeah.
And that has been, the heart of our business. But also it's been what keeps me coming back every day and being excited about representing such a powerful brand.
Right. Well, those type of relationships. So when you were doing national buying, you found your people in each market, the ones that you could count on, even if they were like a radio rep that you could count on, right?
Absolutely.
And did you carry those over? I meant maybe not on the national level, but I meant you keep the people in your phone that that you can count on.
You do. And the other thing is sometimes when you're dealing with national buying, they can also place local buys at an efficient level. So I was able to still leverage those relationships and really develop, those people you trust that are really going to do all of the heavy lift and look at what are the avails, what are the opportunities, and you trust them over the years.
Absolutely.
And so that was a huge benefit for us, is really being able to leverage that, but also relationships in general. I'm a relationship person. I'm one that if I'm going to tell you I'm going to do something, I'm do it. And, I want to deliver that experience to our homeowners too.
Right. Well, I absolutely love that story, but we have to go to break now because I know the music's going to start.
Yeah.
They gave me that clock up there. So, all right, everybody stay tuned because we have more BaaD Radio coming up. Back, and this portion of BaaD Radio is brought to you by Body Street of Winter Park. Experience the future of fitness at Body Street in Winter Park. Lose weight, Build muscle and tone your body in only 20 minutes a week. Visit bodystreet.us, where fitness meets efficiency. I know I did that out of order, Ken, but that's okay because I did that on purpose. Normally, like, he has little sound bites that he does for each one of my live reads, and normally I do Premiere, but I wanted to switch it up a little bit. Okay, so we're here with Chelsea, and she got to tell, and she's with Renewal by Andersen, and so she told us a little bit of the background about how she got started with Renewal, how she took a little bit of a national break, and then she came back to the Orlando market. So, and that was, you said 2019, right? All right. So, and I meant you've been there ever since, right?
Yes. It's been it's my 6th year. We just are celebrating my 6th year. And I think as you look back at all of those things to really lay the foundation of a brand, right? We have all of these things as marketers we have to do. And I think for us is, how do we lay the foundation? How did we, make sure, because a native Floridian didn't know Renewal by Andersen.
You know what? I remember the first time I saw Renewal by Andersen, I wasn't sure what it was, but it was at an outdoor event.
Yes. And so we had the opportunity to have a greenfield, right? That no one knew our name or our brand unless you lived somewhere else. Because again, we started in 2016 in this market. They really wanted to do that 20-year durability test with hurricane impact glass. They wanted to make sure everything was in line. So we didn't have to worry about, could Florida and humidity and the salinity in the air, could it really handle? And so when we came to this market, it was like literally no one knew the brand. Right. And so we started the survey process, and surely, as we thought, no one knew, right? People from the Northeast that were moving in, or Midwest, they had only seen Andersen or Renewal by Andersen, and they didn't buy anything else, right?
Right.
But here we had to do a whole different strategy in order for us to make sure that they understood what we did, who we were, and how we could help their home be better and more energy efficient.
Well, let's talk about that then a little bit, because I mean, every industry has its ups and downs. And would you consider Florida a very competitive market in your category?
It's absolutely competitive, and I think that it took time for them to understand the difference between Renewal by Andersen and anyone else, right? And there's a lot of significant differences, and I think that is part of the storytelling that we had to say and do. And I think there's so much power. And I was just talking to someone a few minutes ago, and I was saying, out of all the things that we learn day to day, I'm really learning how to be a better storyteller, because oftentimes we get busy and just saying something because we think we have to say just something.
Right.
But what will resonate with an individual about your brand or who you are is the way that you tell the story. And if you can tell the story in a way that allows that individual to truly resonate with your brand, if they have a pain point, if they have a frustration, or if they just literally want it to be more beautiful. It's the story that you tell that resonates with them.
Right. And so how do you go, when you say tell the story, let's talk a little bit about the platforms in which you do that. So, I mean, I've seen the digital ads, but what are the different ways that you go about bringing Renewal Andersen to the Orlando market?
Yeah, without like telling my
you don't have to give
secrets.
You don't have to give out.
We really felt like aligning with our sports teams were super important.
Right.
We can always remember when we were either with someone that we love, our grandparents, our mother, our father, or just taking someone to a ball game. There's memories that are deep seated inside of us, because that's a competitive space, and so many of us love sports. I am a sports fan, right? So for us is really aligning with brands like that.
Right.
We have the official sponsorship for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Tampa Bay Lightning as proud partner. I mean, the UF Gators, the Solar Bears. I mean, you name it, we love it. And it just allows you to have that brand affinity.
Well, that's very clever if you think about that too, because I've never really thought about Florida as being a sports state, but now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, okay, yes, we have, because we have good weather here.
Yes.
Right.
And you have, world-class teams. You have the Lightning, that, Stanley Cup champions. You have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers that, not too long ago went to the Super Bowl.
That's right.
Right. And then they continue to be at the top of their game in the playoffs. You've got the Solar Bears that are an amazing family team.
My son just recently went to a Solar Bear games with he plays baseball, but the coach brought them all, had one of the whatever you call it, what is it, where everybody gets to sit in a box.
Oh, yeah.
And he was like, this is amazing. But he didn't even realize that Florida had a hockey team, and a very good one at that.
Yeah, and then you have, not only do we have our teams that are within my territories, but then you have the Florida Panthers that are in like Fort Lauderdale area. That's another powerhouse hockey team.
I don't know that much about hockey.
So there's so much. And then you have MLB, with baseball. And then you have literally we have the Jacksonville Jaguars in Jacksonville. So we continue to have all of these amazing sports, and it really impacts our city.
Right. And you align with somebody's team, they're gonna like you. So that's actually brilliant marketing right there. But what I've seen you at outdoor events a lot.
Yes.
So
we probably do 15 to 20, if not more, a weekend in every one of our markets. We just love being outdoors, and we love being able to be a part of someone's life when they're not thinking about windows and doors.
Right. Well,
and it's easy for them to walk up and have those conversations.
Right. So on-site activation, like I said, I love outdoor events. I love going there. I love looking at the booths and seeing all the different things. But in other markets, though, do they have a lot of outdoor events like that? They do. Okay.
Yeah.
So is that something that Renewal did in different markets before you came here?
Yeah, that's been a part of our core. That on-site activation, the ability to really communicate with someone at a flower festival or at a whatever it is. We want to be able to resonate with the community. And I think that's half the battle, is those on-site or in the local community events are so important.
Right. Well, like I said, I see you at all of them. And then it's also a step into a career path for some people, right? To be on part of your activation team.
Absolutely. The brand ambassadors, we have such growth opportunities. So the brand ambassadors are a part of that, and then they grow into team leads.
What is a brand ambassador?
That's kind of our activation staff.
Okay.
That's what we call them, our brand ambassadors, because we want them to feel proud that they work for Renewal by Andersen, and then they represent a great brand. And so then they grow into team leads, and then the team leads grow into our event managers. So there's definitely a path for them, and we lay the path out very clearly so they understand they have a home with us. It's not just a part-time thing. We can start that way, especially if they're a student or they have, a limited time. But over time, we retain 80% of our brand ambassadors, and they really grow into something amazing. As well as, we have proximity teams that door knock and meet people at the place they are, and they love it. And it's a great career starter for someone that loves marketing but wants to do it outdoors.
Right. So you do have door knockers, huh?
We do.
Right? Do people frown on that? Or,
I think in the beginning years when they didn't understand who we were, right? Because they were like, oh, who's Renewal? But now we have such a amazing brand presence and a brand affinity with so many local individuals that they're excited to see us because they see us fully logoed up, and we're just here.
That's the key right there, is that I would open my door to a Renewal by Andersen because I'm recognized the brand and the coloring, but I'm not going to open my door to just like any schmo that comes up and says, hey, can I trim your trees?
No, because it's scary.
Yeah, it's frightening.
Yeah, I agree.
But I've talked to the team at all the events, and they're all so really well versed. So do you have like a training program that you put them all through?
We do, and we have continual training. So we're constantly in front of them. We're lifting them up and giving them that sense of competition, and allowing them to get excited about, oh, such and such did this. How are you doing? You know, because that's that culture.
I love that.
Right? Let's get them excited and let them, really shine. And so we are so proud of our non-traditional teams and our activation staff, and really making sure they understand we love what they do. It's not easy, and we want to make sure we celebrate them.
I haven't heard that term in a while, non-traditional. I love it, though, because traditional was always going to be radio, television.
All the basics, right?
Yeah. I don't even know if newspaper. Do people still buy ads in newspapers?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I remember the Sunday was like the big one, the big competitor that we had to fight against, the Sunday our ads, all the car dealers. So, all right. Well, that just flew by again. So we're going to go to break, and when we get back, we're going to pick this up. So stay tuned. Welcome back, and this portion of the show is brought to you by Ground Up Property Services. Do you know what your sprinkler did last night? Probably not. So now is a good time to get your irrigation system serviced by Ground Up Property Services today. And be sure to ask Rick Hall with Ground Up about a water sensor too, so your lawn doesn't get too much water. 407-468-4295 or visit groundupinc.net. Ground Up has been such a great sponsor of us. Rick Hall is the gentleman I was sitting with back in the day when he was like, when I had developed Business at a Distance, and he was like, you should do a radio show. I was like, haha, funny. And you know what I mean? That was
Here
like,
you are.
This is like our 4th year now.
That's great.
So we're here with Chelsea, and I don't even think I said what your actual position is now. I'm going to say Director of Marketing. Is that close?
It's Chief Marketing Officer. Same difference.
Is it like Chief Marketing then Director? And like I said, there's always like this scale, but to me, Director is like the one that's below the VP, but that's just my brain saying that that's it. Anyway, you're way up there on the scale. Let's just say that with Renewal by Andersen. And so during the last segment, we started talking about like what's going on with the industry, and that sort of like curved into the culture of Renewal by Andersen, which, like you said, I think is phenomenal. But I do want to backtrack into what's going on in the industry in the state of Florida, and a lot of homeowners are struggling because of the change in the laws with their insurance. And then we had 2 or 3 really nasty storms last year?
I think it was 3.
Was it?
I mean, there's 2 big ones, but then one that we're all kind of like,
what's going to happen there? Back in 2004, you didn't live here then, but we had 3 major ones that came through back to back to back.
Scary.
Yeah, Charlie was the first one, and it ripped part of the roof off. My daughter was like 6 days old, and her nursery, because it was a 2-story house, her nursery got just the whole roof collapsed in. We thought it was going to be a repeat of that. But anyway, so one of the big things that's talked about with stuff like that is, wind-driven rain. It pulls the seals off of the windows, and you know what I mean? And so that's you said a pain point. A pain point is going to be making sure that your windows and doors are secured. So when those storms come, that they're not having to deal with like this wind-driven rain issue, or the seal broke, or, and fighting with the insurance company is really what it boils down to. So how does Renewal by Andersen take that into consideration when you're in the product development stage, and then also when you're working with those people after they've had a dramatic experience where they have to repair? So like, I'm sure you have a department that talks about that exclusively.
I think for us, it's meeting that customer, that homeowner in the place they're at, right? They are all going to have varied concerns, varied, amount of fear and issues. For us, what's really exciting is that our Acclaim Impact windows really kind of protect them. And as you're looking at what's required, I know some of the core areas of Central Florida, Acclaim Impact or impact resistant glass windows are not required. But in parts of the coast, you can't replace your windows unless it's with impact windows.
I'm pretty sure that that's becoming like a standard thing. Sorry.
More and more you're starting to see it. And each municipality, each county is a little different. For us, it's about delighting the customer, regardless if they have, I have a need and I have to have you come out, but I need to get a quote for whatever it is for their insurance. We're just there to service them in the place they're at. So for us, no matter what their concern or what they're struggling with, we want to be able to show empathy. And you heard me say world-class customer experience. That's what we want to pride ourselves in. We want to make sure that we deliver on our promise. We're going to come and we're going to spend the 60 to 90 minutes listening to their concerns. Whether it's, hey, this window completely got blown out by the storm. I'm scared. I don't know what to do. We're here just to listen and then help them be able to quote the project based on their need, right? And so we definitely don't just come in and throw a bid and run away. Right. We're spending the time to have our fully highly trained designers to come out and sit with them and understand what do they want to accomplish out of their project. And we understand it's probably a really tough time, and we're going to show the empathy, and we're going to make sure that we have them understand how we can help in that process.
Do you find that they're more scared about like the price tag, or are they more scared about the the possibility of something like that happening again, and them having to go through this process again.
I think every consumer is different. From a price point perspective, depending on what they want to accomplish, we can do phased projects where they're doing the windows that are most affected, right?
Okay.
So they don't have to do their entire home at the same time.
That's good.
We also have the most aggressive financing, of course, through the approval process and all of that. We have to say that, but it really allows them to have affordable payments if they're approved, and it really takes that fear of affordability away.
That's such a big thing, especially after a time of crisis like that. Is because I know personally, because with Ian, our house flooded. And it was not wind-driven rain. It wasn't a windows issue. It was, you know what I mean? It was groundwater that came up.
Sure.
It cost us so much money. We had to put in
scary.
French drains, and we had just replaced the floors, which we had to replace again. And it put a dent in our plans.
It does. And I
financially.
think, when you're wanting to invest in the home you love, really looking at what are those products, what are those services, what are those things that we need to all lean into that are proven to protect our home, proven. We had so many individuals when they were going through all of the struggle of the storms that would reach out and say, we are so thankful
I love that
we invested in Acclaim Impact Windows from Renewal, because they didn't have to be behind hurricane shutters. They could physically be safe knowing that those hurricane impact windows that were installed in their home was going to keep them safe.
But
from
are
those.
they pretty?
And they are more than pretty.
Okay.
We love them. The curb appeal and the ability to have windows that are custom made with your style in mind.
Really?
Game changer.
I'm thinking, when I think of impact glass or anything like that, I'm thinking of double pane. Just when I say double pane, you've got 2 layers, and just it looks very. Oh, I don't even know what the right word is in my brain.
No, that's completely, and a lot of people think that. They're like, oh my gosh, I'm living in a dungeon with these thick frames. But because Fibrex is our product, it's a composite product. It's 2 times stronger than vinyl. So we have the most expansive glass space because it can handle the impact necessary to meet code. So our windows are the most beautiful, but has the most ability for you to see that beautiful backyard, and not have to feel like you're living in that dungeon, which is huge for people.
Oh yeah,
they don't want to put the ugly windows in.
No, I mean, honestly, I think getting over that perception is that you can have the safety and the beauty at the same time is probably one of those things that you have to constantly feed.
Absolutely.
Especially when you got stubborn Gen Xers like myself, or it's you get something embedded in your brain and it takes a little while to retrain that.
Sure.
Well, that's really cool. So tell me about the design team.
What's great about our designers, our design consultants, is that they not only help you build those windows and doors of your dreams, because there's nothing that's just there and we can hopefully stuff it into an opening in your home.
Right.
It's all custom made in the U.S. for you. So down to 1/8 of an inch, they help you decide, do you want grill patterns? Do you not? Do you want just beautiful open glass space? Do you want a certain hardware? You can have a different color from the inside than the outside.
Wow.
So that you don't have to worry about, is the HOA going to say no?
Right.
You absolutely can accommodate your outside being HOA approved and your inside being your style, bringing your inner designer out. And so that's been such a great process for our homeowners that they don't have to just go, I'm stuck with white. I'm stuck with this color that I don't like. It's not my style. But we can customize those from all of your hardware choices to your glass styles, to really the window itself. If you want a gliding window or you want an awning window, whatever it is, we're here to customize that for you.
I love it. I like the way you say it too. It flows through there. So, so that's the windows. I do want to jump into doors a little bit too, but I know that I'm looking at that. So I meant between windows and doors, is there an even split for you, or do you focus more on windows and doors, or you just anything that you guys need in that?
Yeah, anything that you need in regards to windows and doors, we can accommodate. We have a new entry door system called Ensemble that is gorgeous. We have a designer series that we're actually custom designed by true designers that you all have seen on television.
I want to talk about that.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
All right. Well, we're going to run to break. And when we get back, we're going to talk more with Chelsea with Renewal by Andersen. So stay tuned. Welcome back. And this portion of the show is brought to you by Liberty Property Inspections. Your home is one of your most important investments, so don't trust it to just anyone. LibertyPropertyInspections.net, helping you to protect your investment.
We're here with Chelsea with Renewal by Andersen. We're like today's flying by, and I think it, like I said, it has a lot to do with your ability to be like a storyteller. So before break, you started to tell us about like this new. Well, I'll let you take over from here.
Yeah, we are so excited. We have a new entry door system called Ensemble, and what was great is they got to reveal interior designers, famous interior designers like Bregan Jane, who I can't say where you would see her, but you could see her in lots of the DIY shows.
Okay.
Then they also added a designer called Lori March and Darren Keefe. Darren Keefe is the dancing carpenter. For those of you who have seen him on Instagram, amazing. And they actually designed these beautiful doors for our ensemble series called the Designer Series. So it really allowed us to have homeowners that really love these individuals as interior designers design doors. Then they could take their options, whether it's a different hardware color, but they have their own series of doors for us. And it's amazing. And it's Fibrex, Renewal by Andersen entry door systems. So it really changes the curb appeal altogether. And I think when you're looking to make that little change because you're wanting to freshen up your home, you want to have an entry door that just is a wow factor, right?
Yeah. The funny thing is before, or when I was younger, I was like, it's a door. Now that I'm a homeowner and I'm paying attention, I'm like, I look at front doors.
Yes.
I do. And I think about security. I think about, like you said, curb appeal. And I think it's really cool that people actually take some time to let people be creative and do like something creative. Now, you talked about like the what is the material the doors are made out of?
Fibrex. So Fibrex is, again, 2 times stronger than vinyl. So it's a product that's going to last. So it's the name of it is Fibrex.
Fibrex.
It's a proprietary product to Renewal by Andersen. And it's what's really, for me, when you're looking at a product that's going to really sustain through the humidity and all of the storm-related stuff we deal with and the heat and the cold and all of those things, it's not going to expand and contract. So you're really going to have something that's going to last. It has this mortise system inside of it that allows it to, the locking system, to adjust to the frame. So no one's knocking down that door and breaking in, right? So you feel more secure, you feel safe, but it's absolutely beautiful.
That's great. So I'm like, the whole thing about it expanding and contracting, I think about that a lot too with Florida's weather.
Yes.
So what stops it? Is it just because it's so dense? I know that's like a very like product driven question, but that's curiosity.
Yeah, it doesn't allow for it because it's actually wood fibers and a polymer that's joined together. And so it's not like it's painted. The colors are baked in. The material itself doesn't lend itself to that expansion and contraction, even though we have so much of those weather swings here. So it's the technology built inside of that Fibrex product that helps us not have to worry about that, which causes there to be leaking of air conditioning, leaking of cool air coming from our home.
Well, that's the stuff that causes like it not to fit anymore.
Correct.
And then when the storm comes through, you can hear the windows rattling.
And you have water inside your home and you're like, how did that come in my home? Because there's gaps in the windows and gaps in the doors. And that energy envelope is not secure, right? Because there's degradation there. And a lot of times it's from these vinyl plastic products that are in our home that don't belong in our home.
Yeah, well, I think that's amazing. And do you know, I mean, you might not know because it's an insurance question. When we're getting our homeowner policy, do the homeowner insurance companies look at windows and doors as part of the policy?
They absolutely do. There's a lot of things they look at now, especially because of everything changing. But again, there's so many different rules and so many little caveats that's in that policy. But I think that's part of the process. You know, are you up to code with your particular windows when you're on the coastal side? Are you going to have further degradation because your windows and doors maybe aren't up to par?
No, absolutely. That's the adulting world that we live in. That's what I tell the kids. I'm like, just take advantage of not having to adult. Or I say, you're about there, so
toughen up, kid, because it's coming.
And save for those rainy days, because
Right.
listen, it is not easy when something happens, for sure.
So I did. I know we only have like 5 minutes left, but so I've enjoyed this so much. I'm just curious. Like I said, I did some show prep, and I wrote down what's the biggest mistake homeowners make when replacing windows. I'm just curious. Like I'm looking for some tips for our audience.
For sure. I think that, when you're just looking at it from a price point,
Mm-hmm.
you don't realize that, and you have to ask yourself, is what I'm putting in my home going to help better the home in the future? Or is the product that I'm putting in my home going to make it worse?
Mm.
And I think we don't think of that oftentimes. We think price point, but is it going to sustain you for 20, 30, 40 years from now?
So that's really
Or is it going to fail?
right.
And that's what you have to ask yourself. As individuals, as humans, we're really always looking at, is it going to be something that is going to add value?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is the biggest tip I can say is, make sure that it's going to be energy efficient for the years to come, not for the few years that maybe it looks good in the beginning.
Right.
But how about what it's going to, the actual way it's going to work for you and your home for the future.
Right. And when you're talking about saving money, like I said, you might save a little bit of money for the install, but if something happens in 2 years, the storm comes through and it doesn't hold up, guess what?
Mm-hmm.
You're buying it again. So
Correct. And, if you can feel confident that this is a custom product made in the U.S. for you,
mm-hmm.
and it meets all of the proper requirements, and it's really going to add value.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting. It's the first time that I've seen, as I'm looking at different things on Zillow and just looking around, they're actually calling our name of our brand out in the listing. This home has Renewal by
Very
Andersen
nice.
windows and doors. And I'm
Yeah.
like, yes, they're so proud of that because it's a fully transferable warranty to the next homeowner. There's so much value in that. And so we really are proud of that, and really, again, delighting our customers in a unique way.
What kind of warranty do you offer?
So that's the nation's best warranty is a 20-year warranty, and it really
Nice.
allows you to not have to worry about this, not have to even be concerned. And we're really proud that we get to offer that.
And it's transferable. That's great.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's important when you're looking, like if I was a realtor and I was listing a house, I would absolutely include that on the listing because that's a big deal.
It is. It absolutely is. And I was proud to see that because oftentimes you don't see
You're
that.
like, look,
and I'm like, look at this. I'm so proud because it means something to a homeowner that's invested in their home
Mm-hmm.
and they want that experience to go to the next homeowner.
Yes, absolutely. Well, we're down to 2 minutes, but so I want to know what's up. What's next? What do you have in store for the Orlando market?
It's all about delighting customers.
I like
It really is. It's about the people, our processes, our customers. We want to have customers for a lifetime. And I think for us is continuing to be an active part of the community,
Okay.
doing great things, making sure that we're not just self-serving, but that we're definitely giving back to our community, being a part of every segment of the space, not only from an activation perspective, but a true part of a partnership with our community.
Right, and that's going to be through employment.
Yes.
And then I think you were mentioned a nonprofit that you were
Yeah.
had.
We do a ton of things. I would love to have you on our show too.
I want to come on.
She Means Business is amazing. It's all about giving back to and inspiring young women. Oftentimes those young women don't have a mentor or they don't have individuals they can look up to. And so we get the opportunity to share our stories and talk about how did we get to where we are and make sure that we're approachable. I never
Right.
want to be a person that's not approachable. I want to be able to always service the community, but give back to young women that aspire to be a CMO one day. And
Right.
it didn't
Aw.
happen overnight. It's
No.
hard work and it's dedication, but we want to be here for the community.
Right. I would love to. I mean, I get, what is it called? Imposter syndrome all the time. And I'm like, oh, wait, no, this is real. This really
Yeah.
happened. And
Yeah,
those
yeah.
experiences were real. So, well, like I said, I can't thank you enough for this. I've really, really enjoyed having you on today. So
good.
thank you
for having
so
me.
much. And all right. So everybody stay tuned because we have another hour of BaaD Radio coming up.